Do you know what I hear women tell me so frequently that seems like a contradiction? They simultaneously feel like too much, but they're also not enough for people. How can those things exist at the same time? Aren't those opposite concerns? Why don't they mutually exclude each other? We're going to talk about it. If you're not sure what I mean, I'm going to give you an example. Let me explain. You feel like you're showing a less filtered side of yourself. What feels like the real you, it turns people off. They want you to tone it down to be more palatable. So you do that. You turn the dial down. So you've learned to be hyper aware of taking up too much space or drawing too much attention to yourself. You compress yourself down to something people are more comfortable experiencing. But then you also get this sense that when you suppress yourself, you're still not doing it right. Like you start to think there's some sort of perfect formula that you have to follow to earn people's approval. In the moment, you may not literally be thinking that, but it is a pattern you fall into. Like you get this weird vibe when you're trying to perform. You don't know how to be. You start over apologizing like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm so dramatic. But you also beat yourself up for not behaving to a standard that you think will help people choose you or want to be around you. You feel like there's some way you're supposed to be acting that is the perfect way. There's like a Goldilocks method. In this video, I'm going to show you why you feel like you're both too much and not enough at the same time, and that they're not actually contradictions. This is two sides of the same coin. Welcome to Thrifted Therapy, where I take what I've learned as someone who has been in active recovery from codependency and people pleasing. So you don't have to feel sick and tired of caring so much about everyone around you, but never feeling cared for back. I have a newsletter if you want more nuggets from me every week. So please consider subscribing. The link is in the description. Let me start this by asking you an impossible question. You're not going to know how to answer this. If you had to choose between being your authentic self or having your basic needs met, which one would you choose? What if you had to choose between being physically safe or having your feelings and processing them? Which one do you go with? I suspect you already made this choice in your life because you had to. I had to. I chose having my basic needs met and physical safety. And you probably did too. And as a result of that, I learned how to suppress my authentic self and shapeshift into whatever the scariest person in the room wanted me to be, which means frequently I came off as too much and I decided to self-police. And I also learned to avoid my feelings. I chose safety over self-awareness, and it took a while for me to claw my way out of that conditioning that I put myself through. I did that in order to stay safe. No child should ever have to make these choices, but they were rational adaptations to the difficult environment I found myself in as a child. Feeling like you're too much and not enough at the same time is the internal result of being trained to survive by calibrating yourself to other people. And a lot of us had to do that as children. Let's unpack the cycle. So your real self was too much. You learned this at a very young age. You felt like you were constantly being punished for expressing your authenticity, but you also felt like you had to perform in a way that was enough for the people around you, which may have involved self-abandonment. It usually did. And it feels like you can never win because those two demands are at odds with each other. You're stuck over monitoring yourself. You're constantly scanning others for cues about what they want and what they need and how they're feeling about your presence. So that can look like you sharing something maybe a little personal and you catch a facial expression or feel like the other person's energy towards you changed and you start to feel panicky and you ask yourself if that was too much. Like, oh my God, did I just give them too much information again? Like, why do I always do that? You start beating yourself up. And so then you pull back and you try to reveal less because you don't want them to feel uncomfortable. And then you start to worry that you're coming off as cold and that this person now thinks you hate them or that you're a bitch, or whatever it is. So then you try to contribute or offer to help them with a problem they're having, and you start to feel self-conscious about whether you're overstepping, like you're back at too much again. We're on the seesaw. We're experiencing whiplash. So you decide to just listen, but then you're worried you're being too quiet and you come off as being selfish or standoffish and you're just like kind of there and you don't know how to interact with these people or actually be normal and you're exhausted. You can never just be. You're always calibrating to the situation and to the people around you. You're always on edge and performing for people. The core belief underneath this behavior is that you feel like your authentic authentic self is unacceptable. So you feel like you have to constantly manage how much of yourself that you show. And this is fundamentally a self-concept issue. Too much is about what you feel like you need to subtract about yourself, and not enough is about what you need to add or provide for the people around you. That's why you feel like both. You feel like you have to take away and you also have to give. They're two different sides of the same coin. It is about self-concept and your lack of authenticity and trust in yourself. When it came to my own experiences, I was trying to control whether or not other people rejected me. I thought I could find the perfect key to unlock their door and like they would let me in and it would all be great. But no, there's no performance. If you are actually embodying your authenticity and the other person likes what you're showing them, it just works without you having to think so much and expend so much glucose in your brain, you know? Like that's why you're exhausted all the time. It's because you're masking. It's just learning to trust yourself and learning to think, I'm pretty awesome. If they don't like me, then they're not for me, and that's okay. I can trust myself in any given social situation, any social interaction I end up in, and it's gonna turn out all right, whether or not they want to proceed with me as a friend or something more or not. There is a path forward. I've done it. Here's how you break the cycle. The first step is always recognizing what's happening and naming it. So creating a mantra for yourself can help, sort of a trigger phrase. I told myself, you're being weird again. If that works for you, that works for you. It can be like, I'm doing the too much, too little thing again. I'm like, whatever it is, just come up with a phrase that triggers that you are going to stop getting so in your head and just do what feels instinctual to you. It's about recognizing that the discomfort you're feeling isn't because you're getting something wrong. You're actually experiencing fear. You're trying to prevent this people from rejecting you. So you're setting your body's alarm system off. And that trigger phrase is a way for you to say like, okay, it's time to calm down. We're getting a little amped here. Step 2 is to stop turning your attention outward to the other people and to start asking what you want. You have to learn to redirect your attention to yourself. When someone asks what your preference is, whether you're planning something or in a conversation, it doesn't matter. Give yourself 10 seconds to check in with yourself before defaulting to, I'm not sure, or I don't care, whatever you want kind of answer. Even if it feels fake at first, you have to practice having and stating a preference. Even if you do feel like you're very nonchalant and don't care, have a preference and share it with people confidently. If they don't like the same thing you do, or there's some sort of disagreement, you're going to survive. I know it feels like the end of the world when conflict arises, but it's not. The other thing I think folks struggle with is over-explaining or over-apologizing. So if you ever feel like you have to do that, I want you to stop and ask yourself, did I actually do something wrong, or am I just really scared for no reason? And it's okay to be scared for no reason. It really is. I have a lot of fear too that I feel like I have to fight every day. You survive it. In some way or another, you get through it. The other thing is offering to help when you actually don't want to. So ask yourself before saying that you'll help someone, do I actually want to help this, or am I trying to make this person like me? Do I feel obligated to offer this, or do I actually want to help? And that is going to feel really weird at first because you're going to say, of course I want to help. I'm a good person. I want to help. You don't always want to help. Third step is practice tolerating being too much for some people. This is scary for a lot of folks that struggle with people pleasing, because when you stop people pleasing, people will not be pleased. It's kind of the point. There will be people who need you to be small. If you're not being small, they'll think you're difficult. If you don't overgive to those people, they may call you selfish or suggest that you're being shallow somehow or something like that. There's a good chance you might run into those people or already have those people in your life if you are someone with poor boundaries. Those kinds of people hate it when people set boundaries with them. So they are attracted to people pleasers because people pleasers struggle to set boundaries. When you start setting boundaries, people will not be pleased. It's just the natural evolution of working your way out of being a people pleaser. And the only way it gets better is if you are comfortable with the discomfort. And it's going to be really uncomfortable. I know it will be, and you can do it. I promise you can do it. And there are going to be some people that don't want anything to do with you because you set a boundary, and I'm telling you right now that is a good thing. Those folks will run you into the ground. They will make you exhausted, and you don't want that. Setting the boundaries up front is how you weed those people out. People who are decent and actually enjoy boundaries because that means that they're getting clarity from you will not run away when you say no or disagree with them. They'll say, oh, okay, good. Thank you for letting me know. That is what a well-adjusted person will do. But a lot of people pleasers, codependents, fawners, whatever you want to call it, folks who will try to appease other people because they're afraid of rejection or conflict, those folks frequently attract narcissistic type of people. They attract high conflict people. And those high conflict people want folks who are doormats in their lives. If you stop being a doormat, those folks will stay away from you. It's like magic. It's so glorious and freeing. You don't want those people around you. And in order to weed them out, you have to set boundaries with them. When you stop people pleasing, people will not be pleased. What helps is to reframe their discomfort with your authenticity. It's not a sign you did anything wrong. It's simply proof that the relationship dynamic that they require will put you in a bad position that you don't want to be with. At first, setting boundaries like saying no or telling them you'd prefer something else, it feels like death. It feels like you're gonna suffocate. But exposure helps make it easier to deal with. You have to push through that discomfort. That's the only way things will change. The fourth step is to understand that just right isn't a fixed point. You're looking for some magic formula where you're exactly the right amount, but that doesn't exist. Not only do different people have different things and different needs and different situations have different expressions and call for different behaviors and stuff, you also change. Your needs and your capacity and your mood change. What you want is to be comfortable with flexibility instead of trying to be perfect. Being perfect is a trap. This is about learning to trust yourself in whatever situation you find yourself in, to allow the ebb and flow of your energy and mood to slightly dictate how you show up. Stop trying to find the right amount and start trying to be authentic and let the relationship sort itself out. Now that you know why you feel like you're not enough and too much at the same time, you need to figure out how to embody your authentic self, which I walk you through in this video right here. Thank you so much for getting to the end. Please consider subscribing to my channel and to my newsletter. Link is in the description. I will see you in the next one. Bye.